What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Tricky Jim at Full Grip Games. Today, I'm going to be showing off my new updated Night March list, which is absolutely wild with Scoop Up Net, capable of taking huge one-hit KOs, bringing Pokemon up from the discard pile, Great Catcher bringing them into the active position, and taking big knockouts with just a 30 HP Joltik, the original Glass Cannon deck. Let's take a look. Night March absolutely loves the addition of Scoop Up Net to expanded format as well as Quick Ball, and you can see this list we have here is as turboed out as it gets. We have got 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Quick Ball, 4 Trainers Mail, and 4 Scoop Up Nets, which means that even though we only have 3 Shaymin-EX, these Shaymin are going to be getting a lot of mileage and setting up to their heart's content. This deck is very capable of getting to its bottom few cards on the first turn of the game and taking gigantic explosive knockouts with Joltik. Joltik's our only attacker in the deck other than Marshadow, and don't forget Shaymin-EX can also get in there with Sky Return, especially with choice bands. You can Sky Return for 60 damage into a Pokemon GX, absolutely busted. Set it up for a knockout later with your Joltik. Now, this list has been evolving on stream for quite some time, and I'm really happy with where it's at right now. If you haven't already, make sure to check out the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrickyJim, where I stream live Pokemon trading card game content every single weekday. It's where we come up with busted decks like this. Now, I've taken a few things that are standard with Night March decks, and I have twisted them a little bit. We are down to just 1 Sycamore. I realized with Archie's Blastoise, that deck only plays like 1 Sycamore and 1 N, maybe 1 Tate and Liza. This deck can operate like that now. With the explosive Trainers Mail, Quick Ball, Ultra Ball, Engine, and Scoop Up Nets, as long as you have your abilities in play, you can set up to your heart's content and find whatever card combination you need. Now, in the list, we just got 1 Field Blower right now because I wanted to jam all the good stuff into the deck. Now, we end up playing against a bunch of Silent Lab decks in this gameplay, so you'll get to see how this list interacts with decks that play Silent Lab. But I think that if you're really worried about Silent Lab, you could throw another Field Blower into the deck. You could take out maybe 1 Quick Ball. You could take out maybe 1 Trainer's Mail, though I'm definitely a 4 Trainer's Mail kind of guy. You could take out 1 of those for either a second Field Blower or a Chaotic Swell. Both of those cards act as a nice little buffer to Silent Lab so that you can continue using your Shaymin-EX. But what I've found is that usually, even against Silent Lab decks, you could just, set up a Teammates play, Teammates, and then you can find your 1-up Field Blower and really just kind of set up and do everything that you need to do, utilizing Teammates to find yourself the Field Blower. Also with Trainer's Mail, Dowsing Machine, we have access to 2 Field Blowers throughout the course of the game. With Dowsing Machine, you can Field Blower once. Dowsing Machine, bring it back. And I really love the Dowsing Machine in this list. My old list used to play Computer Search, but at this point, I think that the deck is so explosive and capable of drawing so heavily that at this point, I am finally confident switching over to Dowsing Machine permanently in Night March decks. And I can say that with confidence as long as Scoop Up Net is legal in expanded format, and we have Quick Ball and Ultra Ball, and Shaymin-EX is legal in expanded format. Yeah, just play Dowsing Machine, because we're going to be drawing through the entire deck. It doesn't really matter. If you play Computer Search, you can pick out any card out of your deck, but you're going to be able to draw through the entire deck anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You're better off giving yourself the opportunity to get something back from the discard pile. Now, this list only plays 4 supporter cards. We've got 1 Guzma, 1 N, 1 Sycamore, 1 Teammates. Those are the best 4 supporters for any given Night March deck. Now, if you're worried about, matchups where maybe you have to use Ranger, maybe somebody item locks you, things like that, this deck is meant to just try and win the game in 2 turns. So we're not playing Ranger or anything like that. We're just trying to just full throttle through the entire deck, gust up whatever we need, target whistle, gust it up, and knock it out again. That's it. So it can play the long game. We could definitely go toe-to-toe with Ultra Necrozma. I mean, with the Scoop Up Nets in the deck, you could set up using Shaymins, flood your field with Joltiks, and then actually use Scoop Up Net to scoop up the Shaymins and keep them from getting knocked out, which is one of the best parts about this Night March list now. We used to have to play Parallel City to remove our own Shaymins from play. Now you can just remove your own Shaymins from play with Scoop Up Net, which is absolutely amazing. So it's not only a draw card, it's a defensive card as well. If you start Pumpkaboo, you can Scoop Up Net the Pumpkaboo, which is awesome too. The only card in our deck that cannot be switched with Scoop Up Net is the Marshadow-GX, so just don't start that thing. Otherwise, we're good to go, and you can just utilize Scoop Up Net to pivot in and out of whoever you want. If you've got too many Joltiks down, maybe you're setting up, and then you decide your opponent misses a knockout and you need to go for a big one-hit KO, you can Scoop Up Net Joltiks, send them to the discard pile, take big knockouts with Night March. Now, the new Mad Party deck that's going to be coming out in the future set has 4 Mad Partiers. Night March only has 3 Night Marchers, so that means that the Mad Party deck is just going to have a higher damage ceiling than our Night March. So is this Night March's last stand? Potentially. But I do think that there are some things that Night March has going for it that Mad Party doesn't. Mad Party has to attack with Bumblebee. It's a colorless Pokemon with 40 HP. All the other Mad Partiers are just not as easily accessible. You know, as far as the energy goes, we have stage 1, like Poltegeist or something like that. You're not going to want to set up stage 1. You're going to want to just attack with the Bumblebee. And Bumblebee is colorless and doesn't hit anybody for weakness. Joltik hits for weakness, being a lightning type. Pumpkaboo can hit for weakness if you decide to play Dimension Valley in your list. Joltik can also be boosted by Electropower, so it can hit those higher, you know, damage numbers that you might need to. Mad Party, though, does seem pretty enticing because you could just attack with Bumblebee and then use Marshadow's Shadow Hunt to copy the Bumblebee, and then at least you have colorless and fighting weakness that you can hit for. Either way, Night March will always hold a special place in my heart. It's one of my favorite decks, the original Glass Cannon deck, and I hope you all enjoy the gameplay here. Let me know, what do you think of Night March in the comments below. Check out the gameplay and let me know what you think. Excellent. So in this first game, it looks like we're going to get to go second. One of the coolest things about Scoop Up Net Engine in Night March is you can start Shaymin-EX. It used to be a horrible thing. Now we don't feel bad about it at all. Totally fine. Looks like I'm playing against an Ultra Necrozma deck that also plays Talonflames. That's really interesting as far as a consistency engine goes here to be able to combat this Night March deck that I'm playing. That is for sure really cool. So we're going to Trainers Mail first. I think I want to see if maybe I find like a Rescue Stretcher or something like that. And then if I do find one, then I could Battle Compressor for a Pokemon to get it into play before this end. And or if I found Dowsing Machine, I could go get, you know, Battle Compressor, the Field Blower, and Field Blower that Silent Lab there. So we do find Quick Ball. It's cool. We're going to Battle Compressor and send some Lampents first, and then I get to go and Quick Ball and grab myself, probably get rid of this Shaymin, grab myself a Joltik here, and we get to end. So we're going to see how well we can do off of this end. I would like to find another Pokemon. I would like to find a Field Blower, but instead it looks like we're kind of stuck here with our Shaymin-EX in the active position. Ultra Necrozma is going to be pretty tough for us to go toe-to-toe with, but we've got a pretty decent hand here, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. We can Battle Compressor again, and then we're just going to send, I think, Lampent, Pumpkaboo, and probably another Joltik, just so that I can Rescue Stretcher and get another Joltik into play. That seems fine. So we're going to do that. Yup. And then I just need to make sure that the other Rescue Stretcher in my deck that I use to really, you know, if I have to, throw more Joltiks back into the deck, since I am going to have to trade evenly with this Ultra Necrozma deck. Playing under Silent Lab is going to be a little bit tough for Night March. That is just kind of a classic scenario there. And then this is, wow, Beast type, very cool. And we do have an ADP, so there is hope for us for sure. Arceus Palkia on the other side of the field means that I can absolutely take 3 prizes on that. And we've got Garchomp and Giratina GX, so this is just a very dragon-oriented deck. We've got the Ultra Necrozmas wearing Fighting Fury belts. We've got a lot of dragons here, which are probably going to be utilizing the double dragon energies, and they're just gonna Aero Blitz, deal 40 damage to my Shaymin-EX, which is fine. I can end this next turn and even just attach the double colorless energy to my active Shaymin to guarantee myself the switch out, potentially finding a Scoop Up Net or something like that, but this is just the safe play here to guarantee that I get to actually Night March this turn. So we are just going to end, get those 2 cards that they searched for out of their hand, and we can see a little bit more here. Still shut down, can't draw with Shaymin because of the Silent Lab, but that's okay. So we're going to Trainers Mail. We find ourselves Battle Compressor, and at this point, I am content to just thin the other Night Marchers out of my deck and maybe see a good draw supporter, yeah, like Teammates, just because I'm probably going to get knocked out this next turn. And we're just going to go like that. Very good. And I can retreat this Shaymin, go into Joltik, and we're just going to Night March for the knockouts. And then I'm going to keep this other Joltik here on my bench or in my hand, just in case I need to try and compete with a tag team Pokemon or something like that this turn. But it looks like my opponent is pretty intent on just attacking with the Baby Ultra Necrozma here. That's fine. I do like that I can just scoop up the Shaymin and just, take that liability out of play here. And I've got double Verse Seeker in my hand, so I can just teammates a couple turns in a row and just make sure that I'm trading evenly with my opponents. I definitely like that. So we want to really make sure that we're utilizing our one Field Blower very well as well. I do have the Dowsing Machine, so I can use theoretically 2 Field Blowers throughout the turn. So we're going to just count how many Night Marchers we have. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're doing 160, which is enough to knock out the Ultra Necrozma. No Field Blower required, so we will just go grab that Teammates. And then I'm going to Teammates here. And I think at this point, we just want the double colorless energy. And I've already got another Joltik here. I've got another Ultra Ball as well. And we've got a Versus Seeker. So it's really everything I could possibly want. And then I think we're just going to go, DCE Joltik. That seems fine. I've got a lot of Night Marchers at my disposal right now, so we can just do this. And this is all of them. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's only one prize. That's not bad at all. So with, like I said, with 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the discard pile, doing 160 damage with Night March. And I can just scoop up net the Shaymin just so that I know that my opponent doesn't get to prey on that for an easy 2 prizes. And we're just going to trade a couple of times. And what I would like to do this game is just take out, Baby Ultra Necrozmas here. And then when 3 prizes are remaining, we just go for the big one-hit KO on one of these ADPs or the Garchomp and Giratina. But it looks like my opponent is not really trying to do the 1-for-1 trade with Joltiks here. So that's fine. They're going to go in with their Arceus Dalgapalkia, probably Altered Creation GX, in which case I will probably dig into the remainder of my deck and see if I can't take a one-hit KO on this ADP. Alternatively, I could try to Guzma around it, but I don't really have. Well, I did just grab the Battle Compressor, so that might be the safest play here, is to just go for Guzma, one of these Ultra Necrozmas, take a knockout on it, and then go through, once my opponent takes a knockout, then go through and try to find these final pieces that I need in order to take a big one-hit KO on an Arceus Dalgapalkia. This turn does not seem like the turn to try and do it. I mean, I could just Sycamore and go for it, but I think with Guzma in the discard pile, just seems very safe here or Guzma in the deck, I can go for it there. And I have 1 DCE left in deck, so that's fine. It's all I'll really need. And we're going to get rid of the Marshadow too, because I don't plan on using it. And then we can thin 1 more card. The Field Blower is very important. Rescue Stretcher's fine. Special Charge fine. Target Whistle. All these cards are very good. Ultra Ball help thin my hand for the Shaymins that I'm about to play. Choice Bands are also really good. So all this stuff is just very strong. We're going to keep the rest of those cards in my hand. And then we're going to go here and just grab that Guzma. And we're going to Guzma up probably the Jirachi. Just take the knockout on that. It's 1 prize knockout. That's fine. And then the idea is that, when my opponent takes a knockout on this Joltik, they're naturally going to charge up my Night March. I also grabbed my final Night Marcher there off of the prizes. And what's really cool is I can kind of establish my board state here with many Joltiks, right? And then with the Scoop Up Nets, I can just bring those Joltiks back to my hand. So to boost my damage, I can find a Scoop Up Net, bring a Joltik back to my hand, discard it with cards like Quick Ball and Ultra Ball, as we're about to see here against this Arceus Dalgapalkia. I'm very confident with 20 cards left in deck, we're going to be able to take a one-hit knockout for game on this ADP. They used that Ultimate Ray there to charge up some of their Necrozmas on the bench. So let's just go. We've got the Great Catcher. Don't need it. I definitely plan on trying to KO this active. So we're just going to thin our deck, make sure that there's nothing else in here, and there isn't. And then we're going to Sycamore. We are really hoping to find that Field Blower, and I'm probably going to want to use Rescue Stretcher to try and draw through my deck more. So I think here I would like to bench 1 Shaymin for no effect, and we're just going to do that just in case I find, you know, Field Blower Scoop Up Net here. We've got nothing else to find there, and we're just going to Sycamore. So we're going for it. And we've got double Trainers Mail, looking for a Scoop Up Net and the Field Blower. So let's see. First of all, we've got the Field Blower, and then I've got plenty of Scoop Up Nets in the deck, so we should be able to find one here off of that. That was a very fortunate draw for us, and sure enough, the bench Shaymin for no effect is really coming in clutch there. Now I am going to Field Blower these cards here, and we're going to get rid of those. I've got the Electropower. I've got the double colorless energy in my hand. I could special charge some DCEs back into the deck. Shuffle 2 special energy from my discard. Do I even want to do that? Probably not. It's going to, and I feel like probably not. Can I just do 1? No, I have to do 2. So it's fine. We're going to do it just to be able to draw 6 cards off the Shaymin-EX. And then here we go. We're going to draw some more. Looking for Electropowers. Looking for, yep, this is perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. Here we go. Electropower, Electropower. And then we're just going to draw out the remainder of our deck here. Scoop Up Net, Shaymin for more. And that's knockout. We got triple Electropower with the Choice Band. Night March for plenty of damage to KO that Arceus Dalga Palkia. What a crazy turn. All right, we're going to get to choose to go second in this game. We open Joltik and a Marshadow. We're just going to promote the Joltik there. Now, with Joltik only having 30 HP, you do have to be a little bit wary going second. If you're playing against maybe a Donk deck or something like that, or a deck that plays Hypnotoxic Laser in Burbank City. It used to be very popular. Burbank City kind of fallen out of favor in the last few years. So not something that we see terribly often, but Joltik used to be able to be donked by a Burbank City and a Hypnotoxic Laser, which would conveniently poison for 30 damage on the first turn of the game going first. Now, it looks like we're playing against a Dragon deck. We've got another Arceus Dalga Palkia, so the challenge is going to be to try and knock out this ADP on the first turn of the game, and we have got quite the challenge ahead, considering that they have stuck that Silent Lab there, which is exactly what we do not want to see. So we are going to Ultra Ball here, and the hope is that we can find ourselves that Field Blower or even just a Battle Compressor off of the Trainer's Mail. So that is what we're going for here. If we find a Battle Compressor or a Field Blower, we're fine, because then I'm going to be able to continue to draw more cards. So we're going to Trainer's Mail, see what we get. We've got an Ultra Ball and a Teammates. Teammates is fine, because then if my opponent actually takes a knockout, we can just do that whole thing. So we could Dowsing Machine Trainer's Mail again. That seems a little bit sketchy, so I think we are just going to poke with Night March. I have to put this down, unfortunately, for no effect, but we are just going to poke with Night March, and we're going to Night March for 20 damage, which that Silent Lab really doing some work here. I mean, a lot of these decks are playing Silent Lab, but that's okay. That is the danger of playing Night March in like a very greedy Night March list like this, and you know, and choosing to go second. But when you get to really just use your abilities very hastily like this, it can be extremely strong. So I think that we're fine. I'm just going to Scoop Up Net the Shaymin and Quick Ball to get myself just another Joltik, right? We don't want my opponent to take 3 prizes on the Shaymin, so I will gladly just do this, get myself another Joltik. And then when my opponent does take this knockout for 2 prizes, I'm still totally fine. I've got the Teammates in the discard pile ready to use. We're going to go find that Field Blower, and really all we need is that 1 turn, right, of abilities, which is why we just play the 1 Field Blower in the list. I kind of messed around with playing Chaotic Swell. You could play Chaotic Swell as well to help give yourself a little bit more protection against Silent Lab, but look, we're about to knock out this ADP. It's going to be no problem, right? I mean, all we need is 1 turn. They've got no other Pokemon ready to go, and Night March can just do so much with 1 turn. So let's go. We got it right here. So we've already softened it up. 240 HP remain on this thing, and let's go. We've got Teammates. So we're going to Teammates here, and I'm extremely confident that we're going to be able to draw through the entire deck. We've got Field Blower, and then the only other card that I really want, Choice Band is fine. We could get Double Colorless. Double Colorless seems fine. All right, we'll get the Double Colorless. That's like the only card that might be slightly difficult to find. So we're going to go here, and we're going to Field Blower the Silent Lab, and now we are ready to party. All right, Shaymin, It's going to draw some cards. We've got another Ultra Ball and a Dowsing Machine, meaning that I can Scoop Up Net. Again, here's an Electropower, double Trainers Mail. And then all we really want to do is guarantee that we are going to be knocking this thing out. So I just want to go here and grab myself another Shaymin, and then we're going to Trainers Mail. Got one more Shaymin left in the deck. Trainers Mail could potentially find us a Scoop Up Net. Yep, or Choice Band. Choice Band's actually really good. I can Dowsing Machine for the Scoop Up Net. So we're going to grab this just to ensure us a little bit more damage, and then we're going to Shaymin set up. Dowsing Machine, if I find a Scoop Up Net, could also get me a, let's see, we're going to Dowsing Machine both those. Get the Scoop Up Net, or get a Battle Compressor even too. Could be very good. We could get also a, let's see, we don't have Battle Compressor yet. So we don't have that, that's fine. We got Electropower, it's pretty cute. I actually kind of like just grabbing the Scoop Up Net here. And then we're gonna Quick Ball, and then we're gonna get our other Shaymin. And the, you know, the Quick Ball and the Ultra Ball engine in this deck just really allows us to take advantage of these turns where we get to use our abilities. I mean, just look at this hand, it's absurd. We just get to Battle Compressor, all this stuff, and then we're just going to scoop up and continue setting up, draw through our entire deck. I mean, this is just that one turn of abilities that we had, and now look at us. We get a Battle Compressor, the final remaining Night Marchers out of the deck, Ultra Ball here, and I'm pretty sure at this point we have it, but I'm just going to continue digging as long as my opponents will let me. Let's see, we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so we're doing 200 base 230 plus at least 2 Electropowers. 230, 290. Yeah, I mean, that's it. We have it. And I could have drawn even more. We're doing 290 damage this turn, and I had multiple setups still remaining. Absolutely crazy. That's what Night March can do. All right, we're going to play one more with our Night March deck. We get to go second again, which is awesome. We'll see if my opponent sticks us with the Silent Lab for a third game in a row, and see if we can play around it. We start a pretty good opening hand, to be honest. Going second, totally fine. We've got the Shaymin, double Electropower, and a Sycamore, so we can just dig through our deck. We are playing against an Ultra Necrozma deck, so we definitely don't want to see that Silent Lab. Also, it would be nice if I top deck a Quick Ball or an Ultra Ball, so I could Scoop Up Net the Shaymin, get it out of the active position, put down a Joltik, and just Sycamore into the remainder of the deck. Now, going toe-to-toe with Ultra Necrozma is not the easiest thing to do. I mean, it's a hyper-aggressive deck, but the one thing that we do have at, you know, it's kind of our advantage is that we can set up using Shaymin, and then we can just Scoop Up Net the Shaymin, so we don't have to leave those in play as a liability. Also, since we do play Shaymins as a consistency booster, we naturally have the more consistent deck. Ultra Necrozma Garb will sometimes just kind of stutter, and it won't find the energy it needs in order to attack because it doesn't have that explosive draw engine that we have here in Night March. That could certainly be something that that they encounter. I mean, all of our search options in our deck, all of them, you know, get us consistency. All the Quick Balls, all the Ultra Balls, they all can be turned into, you know, fill your hand to 6, which is crazy. So we're just going to go here, and unfortunately we have to get rid of the Scoop Up Net, but that's fine. We're just going to Sycamore the hand and hopefully draw into some good stuff here. We do have access to more Shaymins, so that's fine. We can just set up. Again, we've got double Quick Ball in our hand, so that's okay. And another Electropower, to be honest. Those are, you know, doesn't really matter. It's totally fine. So we can just Battle Compressor, send our Lampents to the discard pile. And we've already got our good supporters in the discard pile as well. And then we're going to want to Quick Ball, get rid of the Marshadow, and we're going to want to get a Joltik, and then we're going to want to Quick Ball and get ourselves another Shaymin, and we're going to draw some cards. I don't probably need another Electropower, to be honest, but the Field Blower and the Dowsing Machine are both very good. So we do want to find Scoop Up Net and a DCE. It's not going to be the easiest combination, but we can do it. Especially with the Field Blower already in my hand, I would prefer that to be somewhere in the deck for later. Sure enough, there we go. Easy does it. We've got the turn 1 knockout with Joltik, and I've even got another Joltik here to back it up. And let's see, we've put 3 Lampets, 2, 4, 6. And then we've done 60 damage of Electropowers, so that's totally fine. I think I might as well dig a little bit more with the Shaymin-EX while we have our abilities. Ideally, like I said, we would use our Scoop Up Nets and pick all of these up, but I think we want to find ourselves another Versus Seeker or something like that, so that so that we can have some guaranteed dig next turn. I do have the Dowsing Machine in my hand, so we can kind of just use that to Sycamore, and that's totally fine. And then I'll kind of just wait on this hand and see what my opponent does. We're just going to Night March, though. I do need to find another Battle Compressor, though, so that I can send more Night Marchers to the discard pile. My opponent is going to be helping me out with that by naturally just knocking out Joltiks and sending them to the discard pile that way. So there's that. Having the Shaymins on the bench, not great, but we do have 2 Scoop Up Nets left in the deck. So we want to get ourselves to this kind of deck space, to this board state where we just have all of our Joltiks out in play. I need to bench this Joltik as well. We just have all our Joltiks out in play, and we've thinned the deck just down to the bare bones. We just got Versus Seekers, Trainers Mails, Double Colorless Energy, Rescue Stretchers, and that's just about it. And we're going to try and trade back and forth with our opponent. We're going to Teammates, hopefully get the Teammates into the discard pile so we can just Teammates exactly for the cards that we need. And the benefit that we have is, even though we do have the liability of Shaymins on our bench, our deck is going to get much smaller and thinner than our opponent's deck is going to get, meaning that ends shouldn't affect us as much as they potentially could. So we want to be careful with our resources, make sure that we're just really aware of what we're using and what we have left available to us. That's why that Field Blower and that Dowsing Machine are both just so important, because we want to make sure that we use those at the correct time. Now, with the Guzma and Hala here, it looks like my opponent doesn't have too much else going on in their hand. I mean, they've got 1 card left there, and they're going to get the Silent Lab to attack and the Double Dragon Energy to attack, and they're going to take a knockout on this Joltik. So that's totally fine. I could just Field Blower the Silent Lab and then just dig this turn. Field Blower both the Silent Lab and that Fury Belt. My opponent's only taking 1 prize, so I suspect that they may not be able to back up this attack with another attack next turn. That's kind of my that's my suspicion here, is that with this 2-card hand that they might not have it. So we're going to go all in here, just putting more of these guys into the discard pile. I can also just throw Teammates into the discard pile, actually, which is great, because then I can Dowsing Machine for the Teammates, and we can Teammates and go get ourselves, let's see, we're getting, gotta make sure, yeah, I think we throw the Teammates into the discard pile, and then we can Dowsing Machine for Teammates. I definitely like that. We're going to want to keep this Joltik on the bench, and we've got 4, 5, 6 in the discard pile right now, which is exactly 120. In order to take a knockout on this, we would need more or another Electropower, which is fine. So let's just Ultra Ball here, and we're going to get rid of these guys. I want to keep that Joltik because I'm going to end up putting that on the bench. Let's see, we could Battle Compressor, and I wouldn't need to Field Blower, but I think we're going to end up just setting up here to refill our hand. We're going to get another Joltik, and then we're going to Field Blower these 2. And I suspect that I'm just going to outtrade my opponent here, even if I cannot fully scoop up all of my Shaymins. So with the Teammates in the discard pile, we could hit a Verse Seeker here, which would allow us to just Teammates, and then I could save the Dowsing Machine, which would be very good. We've got Trainers Mail and Battle Compressor, so now I could just Battle Compressor, send my last 2 Pumpkaboos to the discard pile, and we're in a great spot there. I don't think that there's too much else that I need to send. That Ultra Ball can go. It's totally fine. We're going to Trainers Mail, hopefully find the Verse Seeker. We do. So now I can save that Dowsing Machine, which is really good. And we're just going to Verse Seeker, grab ourselves the Teammates. And with that Dowsing Machine still in hand, I can use that for anything. I can use that for Scoop Up Net. I can use that. We're just going to get DCE and Verse Seeker. And this is exactly the game state we wanted to obtain here. We're like almost at perfection. I'm not worried about one of my Shaymins getting knocked out this next turn because my opponent has a 2-card hand. So the odds of them being able to pull that off are pretty small. And we've got our deck down, like I said, to that final 10 cards. So now my opponent's got the Double Dragon, but do they have Silent Lab? They have Cynthia and Caitlin, only a draw of 3 here to be able to save themselves from losing the game. They're getting that Guzma and Hala back, but they need to find benched Ultra Necrozmas, things like that, Garbodors, in order to stay in this game. So our just aggressive Night March deck here, just putting in the work and allowing us to to put on that pressure and just make it so this Ultra Necrozma deck, even though it should on paper have an advantage against us, we're putting so much pressure on that we're forcing them to find these resources turn after turn. And because of our aggressive draw engine, we were able to just have answers to everything that my opponent was able to put down. We got rid of the Fury Belts, we got rid of the Silent Labs, even though we only play one Field Blower in this current list. You could play more. I mean, honestly, all 3 decks that we've played against here in this video have had Silent Labs, and it looks like we're about to take our 3rd win, but we only play one Field Blower. If you're really worried about Silent Lab, you can put a Chaotic Swell in the deck. You could put, you know, a 2nd Field Blower in the deck. Absolutely. And it looks like Silent Lab is going to be very popular in expanded format. So you could take out one of the Quick Balls for a 2nd answer to Silent Lab if you feel more comfortable doing that. But I think that, you know, for the most part, just having that explosive engine, that's what allows this deck to thrive. The Quick Balls, the Ultra Balls, the Scoop Up Nets, the Trainers Mails, having all of that means that I'm going to be able to find just about anything that I want, any answer I want, anything I want to do on a given turn, I could probably do it. And it looks here like my opponent is not able to respond. So we're going to Night March, take out this active, and I can just chill on this hand, to be honest, because there's not really anything else that I need to do, and the hand is perfect. So I can just put this double colorless down there, and we're going to Night March. And the reason we have the DC down on that one, just in case this active gets knocked out, we're not going to go for knockout on the ADP yet. There's really no point in that. We're just going to take out the attacker with the energy on it, force this Arceus Palkia into the active position. My opponent might Altered Creation GX or something like that, which would be pretty difficult to deal with considering I've already used 3 Electropowers. You know, we're not exactly, was not exactly anticipating an ADP coming down, though it does seem like, you know, judging from the decks that I've been playing against in this video, there seem to be quite a few Ultra Necrozmas paired with Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia. So I'm pretty confident just softening up the ADP. I don't think that they're going to be able to respond with, you know, a Mallow and Lana play or anything like that. So I can afford to 2-hit KO this ADP, though it is going to expedite, you know, the pace of the game. If they Altered Creation GX, you know, then I soften it up, you know, then they are on a clock where they could win the game theoretically in 3 turns. If they Ultra Creation GX this turn, then they take a knockout on Joltik, then they take a knockout on Shaymin. That is the game. But all I need to do is take 1 knockout for a win. So I'm definitely favored in that trade there. Now, if we take a look, I have 4, 5, 8, right? 8 in the discard pile, it's 160, 8, 9, potentially 180. And then I could get 10, 11, potentially. It's 220. 220 plus the choice band, right? If I were to Dowsing Machine for the choice band, I can't do it. I think I already have 3 Scoop Up Nets, so I cannot scoop up both of these. So we cannot take the 1-hit knockout on this Arceus Palkia. I don't believe, yes, because I can only at maximum get 8 into the discard pile, and I've already got both choice bands in the discard pile as well. So we're just going to take this turn to take the knockout here. We'll Trainers Mail once, see if I get Quick Ball. That's fine. I can throw the Pumpkaboo into the discard pile. I do like that. And then so long as, you know, with my opponent's 1-card hand, they don't do something crazy, then I'm totally fine. So we're just going to Night March here and deal 180 damage. Totally fine with that. Next turn, I've got Guzma in hand and a Joltik here. We can finish this thing off and just take the game. And the reason why I don't have the resources in my deck to 1-hit KO this Arceus Palkia GX this turn is because I was really just setting up my board state and my game plan here to trade with Ultra Necrozmas 1-to-1. So that's what we were trying to do. We got rid of a lot of our resources, our Electropowers, choice bands, things like that, because we were trying to really just pare our deck down to trade with Ultra Necrozmas. The Arceus Palkia was a little bit unexpected, but still gives me, I think, an easier win condition than if my opponent was just trying to trade 1-to-1 with me with Ultra Necrozmas, because if they were just throwing 1-prizers in my face, they could just knock out Shaymins here, you know, end me, maybe get me to a state where I was not able to scoop up my Shaymins. This is why I've been holding onto this hand for so long. It's very good. I mean, I have tons of options. My entire deck is available to me with this hand, but if my opponent were to have gotten a big hand or something like that and end me down, I was going to want to be able to scoop up and then Dowsing Machine scoop up and then take a knockout, right? So that was kind of what we were going for. And we just have game here in Guzma. Bring up that Arceus Palkia and just Night March again for 180 damage, and that's going to be game. Night March, just one of the most aggressive decks in format, the original Glass Cannon. And I really like this list that we have cooked up for Night March, definitely give it a shot. We've got the new Mad Party archetype coming out in our future sets, so I'm excited to see how that deck stacks up in comparison to Night March in expanded format. It also could be a thing in standard format, so I'm really very much looking forward to that. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Make sure to like the video, sub to the channel, ring that bell. Check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/TrickyJim, where I stream live Pokemon trading card game content every single weekday, and we come up with busted decks like this all the time. Also, if you're looking for trading card game singles, make sure to check out FullGripGames.com. Supporting the shop at Full Grip Games directly supports the content that I create here on Tricky Jim. So thank you all so much for supporting the store. If you're looking for PTCGO codes to get your account up to stuff, then make sure to check out FullGripCodes.com for instant PTCGO code delivery. Again, supporting the shop at Full Grip directly supports the content we create here on Tricky Jim. So y'all take it easy and have a great day. Peace.